and welcome to another episode of the Cutting Edge Figure Skating Podcast. My name is Kim Dunaway, and in this episode, I'll be recapping the women's event from Skate Canada 2024. This event was won by Kaori Sakamoto of Japan. No surprise there. Probably not expecting for it to be a bit of a nail biter here, or to have like the crazy ordinals that we had in this competition either. Kaori was very strong in the short program. I feel like the best part of her short program is the step sequence. In general, it's a strong program. It's just hard for me to connect to this program and to the music. We have a lot of tango programs this season from every discipline, and I don't dislike it. I just feel like all of Kaori's programs, with the exception of Elastic Heart, her free skate from 2 years ago, they've just all kind of missed the mark a little bit. And both of her programs this season, to me, are fine, but I want them to be great. And the free skate, again, just still not sold on this program completely. Now, don't get me wrong. I think Kaori can do anything, any style. But it doesn't mean that any style will be necessarily successful. And this one just is a little bit flatter for me. And with the two mistakes, it made it feel even more like, not a dud. It was just a bit of a downer, especially to end the night. It felt like a bit of a downer with what was, a lot of weak free skates, unfortunately. So her falls were on, the first one was on a double axel Euler planned triple Salchow, but she only got 2 revolutions in, and I think she got a full downgrade on that. And then also a triple flip later in the program. So she ended up with undercalls on both the flip and the double Salchow. So not a full downgrade, but an under. And she also got an undercall on her triple toe and her combo. So she still won here. She had a humongous lead, especially over the person who ended up winning second place. I saw a lot of people kind of frustrated that they didn't feel like Kaori should have still won. They felt like maybe she got held up quite a bit. And I mean, the short program's got to mean something, right? Like they don't just go out and skate one program. Like you can famously always lose a competition in the short program, right? You can't win it in the short program, but you can lose in the short program. So it's got to be worth something. So yes, Kaori absolutely should have won this competition. No, it was not her best, but it was enough to win on the day. The winner of the night felt like our second place competitor, and that was Rino Matsuike, also of Japan. She was third at Skate Canada last year, and unfortunately did not look like she was going to sniff anywhere near the podium after the short program. She is repeating her short program last year to One Day I'll Fly Away from Moulin Rouge. Lovely program, but a lot of issues. She had a botched double axel at the beginning of the program, which frankly, at first glance to me, I thought it was just a single axel. So she had a rough start. She then landed the triple flip, triple toe combo, but then she fell on her let. So 2 big errors was a big problem for her and put her in 10th place after the short program and 22 points behind the leader, which was Kaori. And the free skate, basically, I guess she went out there like she had nothing to lose. She hit everything. She really took her time with each element. It wasn't a program that like builds. It was just very consistent throughout. Like everything looked easy. She had no calls. And she was just shy of 140 points with 139.85. And you get anywhere near 140 these days, and it allows you to make those big jumps. It's kind of what happened with Amber Glenn last year. She had this same 8-place movement from 11th to 3rd, where she scored over 130 points in her free skate there. And so that what allows you to really propel. That's one of the reasons I said last week with Alysa lin-gracey, even though she had a rough short program, she is a person that has 140 point potential in that free skate. So it's never really over. The podium is always within reach when that happens. Now you need other people to struggle a lot of times who are ahead of you. And of course here, that is definitely what happened. So amazing program for Rino. She really had the program of the day, and you could probably make an argument she had a program of the whole weekend in all 4 disciplines. Third place here was Hana Yoshida. So Japan gets all 3 medals here, and they got the top 2 spots last week. So we've had 6 medals so far in 2 Grand Prix events, and Team Japan has won 5 of them. So they have been incredibly strong this entire Olympic cycle. Like, without the Russians, it's really been Team Japan. Felt like last season we weren't seeing consistency out of some of the skaters maybe we were expecting to, like Mai Mihara or Rinko Watanabe. It was like a different crop of Japanese skaters last year than what we had the year before. And so the crazy thing about this season is we've already had 5 medalists, right? You know, there's only 3 Japanese spots, and we still haven't seen Mona Chiba yet. We still haven't seen Mai Mihara yet. We haven't seen Rion Tsumiyoshi yet. So they have such an amazing depth, which is why I'm always saying, like, somebody switch to ice dancer pairs where there's maybe more of a chance for you to make world teams. But here we are. And then, gosh, you think the depth is crazy at seniors, go to juniors. It's even wilder, right? And of course, we had some brilliant skaters not make the podium, like Yuna Aoki last week, right? So just Team Japan. Give them all the flowers. So in Hana's short program, she has stopped doing the triple axel in the short program, which I was begging her to do last year and hoping that then she could just skate clean. But without the triple axel in the short program, she finds a way to make a mistake somewhere else. And it's so frustrating because there's always something. So here it was her triple lutz, triple toe. She had to step out of her toe. But her and Kaori were the only ladies in the short program who got a level 4 on their step sequence in all 3 of their spins. So that helped her tremendously here because she barely held on to a podium spot after her free skate. And she needed every single point from all of those levels. So her personal best in her short program is actually way back when she was in juniors. So we have not seen the best from Hana yet in the short program. We're still waiting. In her free skate, she has by far and away my favorite dress of the season. The music that she uses, SOS, is going to be stuck in my head all week. It already is now. I think that it's a good program. Like, both of her programs, I think, are well choreographed. Same thing last season. She does have some limitations in her skating skills and her presentation skills compared to some of her other Japanese counterparts. But I think that she does make the best with what she has. She had a few issues here that just almost knocked her off of the podium. So she did go for the triple axel in the free skate. She turned out of it. She ended up with an undercall on that. She under-rotated her triple lutz late in her program and fell. She had an unclear edge on her flip. She had a Q on her first lutz. Again, no level issues. She ends up getting the bronze by 0.3 over Kimmy Repond, and she loses the silver medal by less than a point. So again, very, very small margins of error. Any little one thing here or there could have been the difference between her getting a silver and being off the podium completely. In fourth place here was Kimmy Repond of Switzerland. This is another clean short program for Kimmy, which is great because that has been her nemesis for the last couple of seasons. She has been a stronger free skate skater. And so I like the short program for her here. I think it shows off her spinning abilities really well. And her spinning is on display really nicely in the free skate too. But she had 2 costly errors for her. She had a fall on her triple lutz early in the program. And then she had a 3-jump combination in her program. The flip, double toe, was just incredibly slow. She ended up getting an unclear edge call on the flip and a Q call on that. And that just, again, one less error there would have put her on the podium over Hana Yoshida. I just find this program to be so boring, and a gladiator program should not be boring. She was devastated to finish off the podium. She really wanted that Grand Prix medal, and she's very close. She's very, very close to getting there. And I've seen good strides from her in this competition as well as in her challenger, which was at Budapest earlier in the season also. Fifth place here was Madeline Schizas. And of all the ladies who were somewhat disappointing, Madeline Schizas was really a bright light here. This is the best competition that she has had in a long time. In her short program, I still don't love all the different cuts of The Lion King, but she is really enjoying herself and she's really bringing like the necessary energy that you need to it. The triple toe and her Lutz toe combo wasn't perfect, but I thought the triple loop was a beauty. I think they could use the swells and the music better. And her step sequence was not a level 4. It was only a level 2. So you could tell at the end in the kiss and cry, she really wanted a bigger score. That's one of the places that she could do better and help herself out. But she didn't get any calls, which I feel like is rare in lady skating these days. And then in her long program to Danse Macabre, she stepped out of her triple loop, but other than that, every jump was clean and well landed. Again, I thought she brought a great intensity to it, and I just felt like it's just the best that we have seen her skate. 2 programs back to back in a really long time. You could tell that it really meant a lot to her, and I hope that this is a sign of things to come and not a fluke. 6th place was Alysa Liu of the US, and she was second after the short program, and I kind of felt surprisingly so because she went first. Because the way that the orders go, it's by world standing points. And of course, coming back from a 2-year hiatus, she doesn't really have any world standing points except for what she got competing at Budapest. So she got like a 68, which is, a good score for her. She got like a Q, I think, on her toe. She lost about 1.5 points in her tech score from the ending once it went into reviews. But I didn't think that was going to hold up all competition long. But what felt like for almost a second competition in a row, we were not going to see a lady reach 70 points. Kaori did at least get there, but nobody else did. So that score held up all the way, and she was in second place after the short program. Love the spread eagle that she does into her double axel. I love that she spreads out her spins in this short program. So many skaters will do both 2 spins at the end of the performance. And I understand, like a lot of them, they get dizzy from doing the spin. They don't want to do that and then go and do a step sequence or go and do another jump. But I love that she spreads it out. And so after the short program, US Figure Skating always sends out a press release at the end of the day. And at the end of Friday, they sent out a press release. Alysa Liu in line to win her first Grand Prix, something along those lines. And I was like, really? First of all, Alyssa's not going to beat Kaori. Like, why are we even saying that? Like, why not say Alysa Liu in line to win her first medal in the Grand Prix, what she hasn't done? Like, why do we have to go and like put that we think, that she could win? Like, of course she could win. It's skating. Like, it's not fixed. Like, ice is slippery. Anything can happen. But that was just so highly unlikely. I just felt like, why? Like, why are we going and kind of putting these unrealistic expectations, not necessarily on the skater, but just like out in the universe? So, of course, in the free skate, she didn't skate poorly. She's skating to MacArthur Park, which is a disco. She started out with a strong triple flip. Then she does a triple Lutz, triple toe combo, and she put her hand down, which I thought was a little bit odd because in the short program, she does a triple flip, triple toe as her combo, and then a solo Lutz. So, like, why flip-flop them and do the triple Lutz in a combination here? It just feels like if that were the stronger combo, like you would be doing it in the short program. So just a little question mark for me. Interesting choice. She does do some difficulty in here. She's got a triple Lutz Euler triple Salchow in there, but she got nickeled and dimed. I mean, both flips got an unclear edge call. She got unders on her triple toe, her triple Lutz, and the triple Salchow. She had 2 spins that were only a level 3. Her step sequence only got a level 3, so she lost 4 points after reviews. And the difference between being 3rd here and being 6th was less than 4 points. So I've seen a lot of riders say, she's coming back. The rotation is going to come back the longer that she's on the ice. And I hope that that's definitely the case, because we have seen it both here and at Budapest. It's definitely been an issue, and it's been a bigger issue in the free skate. Of course, there's more jumps. It's a longer program. She seemed really happy with the scores. I'm not overly worried about it. But where I saw a lot of people express a lot of frustration was with Alysa's PCS. Because if you were to roll the tape back 3 years back and go to 2021, when she was competing on the Grand Prix for the first and only time of her career, she got a 67 in PCS at that Grand Prix, Skate Canada 2021. Here, she gets a 60.67. So basically a 7-point difference between what she got 3 years ago when she was younger and presumably skating skills not as well developed as they are now as an older skater. So a lot of people have said, what is the reason for this? So if we go back 3 years ago and look at that particular Grand Prix, it was won by Kamila Valieva. She got 180 points in the free skate, which is, it's hard to even wrap your brain around that right now, when I was just talking about people getting 140 points in their free skate and that being able to move them, right? With the quads and the triple axles that the Russian girls were doing at the time, those were the kind of crazy scores that we were seeing. So Valieva got a 74 in PCS, okay? And she got basically scores between 9 and 10 in skating skills, okay? Alysa back then got scores between 8 and 8.75 with 1.9 at that same Grand Prix. So she was about 7 points off of what the top lady there was, which at the time was Valieva. And she was at a similar place. I think she was 5th at that Grand Prix. Here, Kaori had the best PCS at this competition, and she got a 67. So that means that Alysa, who ended up 6th here, was about 7 points behind Kaori. So she was about where she was then. It's just that that upper echelon that we saw then wasn't there at this competition. Now, it doesn't mean that we haven't seen that since then, because that's not the case at all. Kaori actually got 75 in PCS at the 2022 World, so in that same season. And then last year at World, she had a 74.59. So Kaori has the potential to get those kind of scores. And if she were to have gotten that here, I would imagine that everybody else's would have been higher as well. So yes, it's hard to compare when you look at her scores here versus her scores there. But if you take them in context with what the highest lady got then and what the highest lady got here, it's actually very similar to what we saw. And I understand completely where people are coming from in that she's skating with more maturity, but when we're looking at program components, we're looking at skating skills, we're looking at composition, we're looking at presentation. So we're looking at the transitions in between the moves, we're looking at how they're performing it, all of those things. And while definitely she's a more mature skater because she's older, I don't know that we're really going to see the full picture of what she's capable of doing artistically until probably next season. I think she's still trying to get her feet underneath her right now. Like I said, I totally understand what everybody's frustration was, but I think if you look at it in context, then maybe we don't have to get the pitchforks out quite yet. Okay. All right. So after that long bit, let's talk about, well, let me just go back to that for one more second, just because I had a few more notes that I want to talk about, just in terms of where we're kind of seeing general scores with PCS. So, like I said, last year at Worlds, it's typically where you're going to see the highest scores. Last competition of the year. Kaori, as I mentioned, got a 74.5. Isabeau got a 70. Luna got a 69. She had a rough skate, would have scored higher more than likely. That gives you just a little bit of a gauge of sort of where the judges are sort of placing some other people behind Kaori. And maybe that helps. And if you have thoughts on it, please, by all means, leave a comment. I love comments. I love to respond to you guys' questions and thoughts. All right, in 7th place was Alysa Lin-gracey, and she was going back-to-back So she had a tough go at Skate America last week and had a tough go in different ways here as well, Skate Canada. So in the short program here, she did her triple lutz beautifully, but she only got a single toe off in the combo. And so that was very costly, actually more costly than last week when she did the triple lutz triple toe and then stepped out of the triple toe. Otherwise than that, really beautiful program. She was behind quite a bit because of the error in the free skate. Triple lutz, triple toe right off the bat, and she stepped out of the toe and then had to put a hand down. So it just made me wonder, because she seems like overly preoccupied with this triple lutz, triple toe. Like we saw her at Skate America last week, like practicing the lutz triple toe, like right before she would go while she was waiting on the other person's scores. And so I wonder if there would be some wisdom in swapping those jumps. If she did the triple Salchow first, just to sort of like get her feet underneath her and then go into the triple lutz triple toe, if she wouldn't be thinking about that combo so much if she had another jump before it. Like, just sometimes I just kind of run different ideas in my head just to try to set the skater up a little bit more successfully, because she seems to be a very good practice skater, but the nerves come on when the lights come on. And it happened at Four Consonants. It happened in Junior Grand Prix a bit last year too. So it's not just a senior thing, although the pressure obviously is more intense at this level. Just a thought, maybe. But anyway, after that, she really didn't miss after that. She did lose some points on undercalls on her first two jumping passes. So she lost about 7.5 points. So that would have not gotten her onto the podium, but it definitely would have put her in the mix. She got a level 2 in her step sequence also. I think the key for her going forward is going to be for her to do well in the short program and not dig herself such a hole, because I feel like that also puts more pressure on her to do a lot in the free skate to try to make up for it and try to come back. Like some people, if they don't do well in the short program, they feel like perhaps like Rino Matsuike did here, or like Isabeau did last year at Grand Prix Final. Like you had a rough short program. It's like, I have nothing to lose. Let me just go out, no pressure in this free skate. And some other people are going to be exactly the opposite. Like they're going to come into the free skate with more pressure because they had a rough short program. And so for me, it seems like with Alysa, her competitions go how her short program goes. And so if we can get her with a little bit more confidence in the short program, then I think that will help her overall going forward. And we've already seen her quite a lot lately between Nebelhorn and these two Grand Prix. I don't know that she'll do another international before Nationals. So the next time that we see her might be at Nationals. So let's get her a nice long time to sort of learn from these experiences and hopefully bring her best to U.S. Nationals. In 8th place here was Kaiya Ruiter of Canada. She just recently changed coaches from Scott Davis to Brian Orser and Tracy Wilson. I think ultimately this will probably be a good move for her. I can't think of any like big name skaters that Scott Davis has coached. Doesn't mean he's not a fantastic coach, but a lot of times with skaters, you almost have like a certain coach that gets you to a certain place, and then you have to go to like almost like a finishing coach, right? When you get to a really high level. And so Brian Orser, Tracy Wilson have a fantastic reputation helping a lot of different skaters sort of get to that next level. And hopefully that's the case with Kaiya. In her short program, she did a triple flip, triple toe, and she hung on to her triple loop. She just brings like a really bright smile, great program in front of the home crowd. Few little things like her step sequence. It looks like she's just ticking off the boxes. It's very slow and careful. Would love to see a bit more confidence and a bit more speed in that. Of her two programs, this one to me feels a bit more juniorish in presentation than the free skate does. That's also going to hold her back in that second mark as well. In her free skate, she's skating to music from Wonder Woman. The only part to me that like sounds like Wonder Woman is the end where she does the step sequence. Like Wonder Woman's not a movie that I think of as having like a real big memorable soundtrack, but I love that she's using it. I love the costume. I love the hair with the braid. And I think it's really neat because we haven't really seen it a whole lot. She didn't have the free skate that she would have wanted. She had a hard fall on her triple lutz. She two-footed her second triple flip, and she stepped out of her triple loop double axel combo. Unfortunately for her, she is still chasing tech minimums. So I think I mentioned in one of the other episodes, and it wasn't one where Kaiya skated at, but I was talking about how Sarah Moi Dupuis and then another Canadian skater actually had tech minimums, and that Kaiya still needed to get tech minimums for her short program. That was not accurate. So the ISU made a change this year from having tech minimums for a short program and tech minimums in free skate separately to having a combined minimum technical score for both programs. So it is 90 points. So your tech minimums from your short program, you add to your technical score from your free skate, and it needs to be 90 or above. In the case of Kaiya, she really struggles with getting a good technical score in her short program. So it puts a little bit more pressure on her to get a higher technical score in her free skate. Really thought this might be the competition that she finally gets it, but she did kind of about the same that she's been doing. And so she needs like 5 or 6 more points to get that minimum technical score to allow her to be able to go to Worlds. Now, I still think Madeline Schizas is going to be the representative for Team Canada to go to Worlds, and at least if something were, God forbid to happen to her, that there are 2 other ladies who could take her place. It was a big, huge issue last year that they literally had nobody else that they could send except for Madeline Schizas. But you would like for Kaiya to be able to do it. She is the reigning national champion of Canada, so she'll have another opportunity probably at 4 continents. She doesn't have any other international assignments right now, so it's just shy of 5 points. So if you go on skatingscores.com, he actually's got listed exactly how many points people need to get their tech minimums. He also has their other future international assignments. Like if you're still using protocols from ISU, I don't even know why. Like skatingscores.com. That's my shameless plug for that. I use it all the time. All right. Rounding out the rest of the skaters here was 9th was Ekaterina Kurikova of Poland. She was 12th after the short program. Rough short program. She's skating to Let's Get Loud by Camila Cabello, which I did not realize that the cover that she was using when I saw this earlier in the season was Camila Cabello. I thought it was just some random singer. I didn't realize it was somebody somewhat famous. So she stepped out of her triple lutz. Big issue. Combo spin was very slow. She did get a level 4, but ended up with the V on there. The triple loop that she did looks like her triple lutz did. She landed with cross feet, didn't get all the way around. She didn't get a combo off, which is a big issue. You end up with a big violation, 30% reduction in base value. So she got 47 points in the short program, which is rough. It's not the first time we've seen it. She had a rough short program at Europeans this past year also, but I was very glad to see her rebound in the free skate. So in the free skate, she's skating the cats, which I completely admit. I still have PTSD from Bakari and Garizi's free skate last year, so I'm still not ready for a cats program. But I do think that she performs it well with the material that she has. I still don't know what to think about the costume change. Now, again, if you've never seen Cats before, again, don't. I hear the movie's worse than the show, which I can't imagine. But it's lots of different cats singing songs, talking about their life. So it's clear that as the music changes, she's going from one cat to a different cat. I would imagine that's what the costume change is. Still feels a bit weird, but sure, fine. There's a couple things I like. I love this knee slide that she does across the ice at the end of the program. And overall, I love the commitment to the character that she has, or to the characters with an S, that she has in this program. In 10th place, we had Sarah Moi Dupuis of Canada. In her short program, she did triple toe, but then she did double lutz, and that's a big no-no. Can't do a double jump and you get no credit for that. She also was very wonky on her layback spin. I love the music choice, though. She's skating to Never Go Back by Evanescence. I just love that, like, Alanis Morissette, Fiona Apple, Evanescence kind of energy in skating programs. I just think it's really fun. Her free skate, she's skating to music from the movie Human, which was some kind of movie that was filmed in like 60 different countries over the course of 2 years. So, like, Chris, who was doing the commentary for this Grand Prix, was talking about, I feel like it was very difficult music for her to try to interpret. And I'm like, well, yeah, I don't know how you would interpret this story into 4 minutes, nor do I know if that was even the point. I think it's cool music. I think she skated okay here. It was fine. She was 10th, which is about, honestly, what you'd probably expect from her. Obviously, she would have liked to have beaten one of her other Canadian teammates here, I'm sure. In 11th place was Soo-young Wee of Korea. And it's been a rough couple of Grand Prix for Team Korea. Min-chae Kim was 10th last weekend at Skate America, and I really thought both Korean ladies would best that here. Instead, they did worse. So for Soo-young in her short program, did her triple combo, and then she got into her triple loop and just had a bad lean going into it and just had no chance. When she got her scores and got a 47.86, I was like, oh my gosh, like what in the world? Well, she ended up with an undercall on both her lutz and her toe in her combo. She had negative GOE on 2 of her spins and a level 2 in her step sequence. So just rough all the way around. She got into her free skate. Just not very inspired, very low energy. The tech score when she finished her program was 58.65. But after reviews, it was 46.49, which is one of the more extreme drops that you will see. 12 points is just wild. But she had 7 jumps with undercalls. The only jump that she didn't get an undercall on was her triple loop, and she fell on that one. So it was rough. And I thought, okay, there's no way that we're going to see a score worse than the 92 points that she got. And unfortunately, not the case. Because in our 12th place finisher, that was Yelim Kim, who I predicted last week would make the podium. Perhaps I was hoping she was going to get the same kind of healing energy that Kevin Amos got last week at Skate America. And boy, was I wrong. So she is repeating both of her programs from last season, which are beautifully choreographed programs. But after this competition, I'm going, maybe they just have like bad mojo and we should just like scrap them completely and just start over. Her short program, she got her triple lutz off, was only able to do a double toe, which, okay, not a disaster. But then her triple flip, she was just like too close to the board. She landed with both feet still crossed. Even after that, she still performed very well, and she was 8th in PCS, which I just thought was too low. It made no sense to me. And then in the free skate, this skate is to Je suis malade. Again, it's a beautifully choreographed program, but it was a disaster. She popped the triple lutz right off the top, stepped out of her triple loop, and I was like, okay, the first 2 jumping passes, not great. Let's get it back on this next jump. And then she popped her triple flip. And I'm like, I don't think she's going to rebound from this. And she really didn't. She did land triple sow call. I think it was under rotated. She did another triple flip and fail. She did manage to get a second sow cow off with a double toe and a double loop on it, but then she popped her double axel. I remember looking at the screen at one point late in her program, and her tech score was only 29.75, and I was like, oh boy. Oh boy. So she got 80 points in her free skate. And honestly, I can't remember a time that I've seen a skater at a Grand Prix get 80 points. I mean, this is like Kevin Amos level of imploding. And it's just hard to watch. And I don't know if it's just a total mental breakdown at this point. A lot of people are blaming the constant competitions that Korea has made their skaters do with the internal ranking competitions. And just, I get it, but YLM has not competed in almost a year, really. I don't know. I'm concerned at this point, to the point that I'm like, can she even come back from this? Now, Team Korea is desperately looking for anybody that can stay up, right? Because they have 3 spots to Worlds. But because of the suspension of Hyein Lee and Young Yu, they've just got Chaeyoung Kim right now. And our first 3 Korean ladies that we have seen so far in the Grand Prix have left a lot to be desired. So I don't know what those 3 ladies look like when we get to 4 continents and we get to Worlds. But right now, it is extremely concerning and depressing right now. And I hope for YLM's sake that she gets what she needs, whether that's rest or encouragement. But I hate to see when a skater is capable of so much more and you just see them on what feels like the worst day of their life. All right. So, ending on a good note, Pam Chinko for this is easy. Rino Matsuike for that amazing free skate. I mean, nobody else is even close. So, kudos for her for making that huge comeback and being just the bright light in what was a pretty underwhelming free skate for the ladies. All right, looking ahead to France, we've got Nina Pinzeroni, Lauren Shield, Leah Cerner, and Clemence Mayundu, all from France. Anastasia Gubanova of Georgia, Wakaba Higuchi, Mai Mihara, Rion Sumiyoshi from Japan, Chaeyoung Kim, Korea, Olivia Kaiser from Switzerland, and Sarah Everhart and Amber Glenn of the US. I mean, this is like super stacked. I mean, I've been saying all of the women's fields this season are crazy, but this is just like crazy on a stick. We've got Wakaba, who just won Skate America. We've got Nina Pinzeroni, who was at Grand Prix finals and medaled at Europeans last season. We've got Mai Mihara, who won Grand Prix final 2 seasons ago. Rion Sumiyoshi, who ended a quad last year, medaled in both of her Grand Prix. I think she medaled in at least one, if not both of her Grand Prix in the previous Grand Prix season. Chaeyoung Kim, world bronze medalist, right? We've got Amber Glenn, who's doing her triple axel in the short program this season. We never know what we're going to get out of Amber, but the first challenger event of this year that we saw her at, she was fantastic. Like, weirdly fantastic. And then Sarah Everhart is a huge wild card because she was second to Amber Glenn at Lombardia and also looked really well. Can she withstand the pressure a little bit better than Alysa Lin-gracey has done in these past 2 weeks? So a lot of very good storylines. There's going to be some very good skaters here that are not going to make the final group, let alone make the podium. And I didn't even talk about Anastasia Gubanova, who is European champion and last year's silver medalist at European. So much unbelievable potential at this particular Grand Prix. There's not really, I mean, the weak spots will be the French skater I'm not familiar with, but even someone like Lauren Shield can put up 125 points in her free skate when she is on. So I'm excited. This might be the most exciting discipline next weekend. All right. Thank you guys so much for listening to the podcast. As always, you can find me on all the socials at Ice Skate Podcast on Instagram and X. You feel free to leave me a line via email at thecuttingedgepod@gmail.com. If you're watching this on YouTube, feel free to leave a comment on the video as well as like and subscribe. And if you're listening in a podcatcher, be sure and subscribe to that as well so you can get all of these downloaded into your podcatcher. I hope you enjoy the skating this weekend, and I hope you have a great rest of your week.